Another episode. We just finished the penultimate episode. So here we are. Welcome, everybody, to another Nerporial chat. I am your host, Brian, the Nerporial Lifeform. And once again, if you are new here, hit the red subscribe button, like the video, and if you like my content, become a member. It's cheaper than a cup of coffee now, which is like 10-15 bucks now with the inflation that's going on. So but yeah, this was a crazy episode, but this is gonna be a shorter after show than usual because everybody it has to go, has their own stuff they need to do. So we're gonna be quick about it tonight. So without further ado, I'm gonna say hello to Shane Nolan. I don't know who this Pips guy is, I don't know, Salty. Who's the Salty guy? Nerdscape. Welcome, Nerdscape. Did I say Shane already? Yeah, I said Shane already. Leia Rose is here. Lady Balefire, like usual, never disappoints. What the hell did I just watch? Nosferatu calling me Godporial. That's always great because I need the validation. And I think that's it. All right. Without further ado, let's begin bringing people in. So I'm going to start with the White Cloak himself, the Child of the Light, who is hunting those dark friends on the internet. Let's welcome Pips. What's up, Pips? How you doing?
Good as always. Thanks again for having me. Always good to be on. And yeah, not so much hunting, finding, man. They're everywhere. Just swing a cat, and you'll hit a couple for sure. Especially on Twitter. That's where they like to live, in case you guys didn't know.
And Reddit, apparently, from your experience. So
yeah, it's a whole can of worms. We won't get into that. Hail.
All right. Hail. By the way, I'm on chapter 7 now of Eye of the World. So
dude, I am looking forward to that conversation. I think it's gonna be a good one.
All right. And with the next one up is the prognosticator himself, my Better Call Saul and my streaming brother. What's up, Steve?
Hey,
Dragon Man. You identify as somebody else? Wow, Dragon Master.
Yeah, nice. I am a master of dragons. What can I say, right?
Oh, you should change your channel name now, Master of Dragons.
Master. I don't know. I don't know how that works with YouTube. That's probably not a great idea, but not that anybody understands YouTube at all. But
yeah.
But hey, chapter 7, man, I'm ready for that combo too, man. That's gonna be good stuff. But yeah, I'm glad to be here as always. I will say I am probably one of the reasons that we have to giddy up a little bit tonight. But all things being equal, I would much rather not be out in the brainstorm at work and here with you guys. So it's not from want, it's because I have to leave in a little bit. So, but thanks for having me, as always.
And without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, and the protector of Tolkien himself, Salty, first of his name.
For the cost of a cup of coffee, you can support this handsome man above us who works hard talking about horror. Do you want me to do Sarah McLachlan? I will remember you.
As long as it's not
that horrible dog commercial. Oh my God. Hail to you. Thanks for having me on. Hey to Pips. Hey to Steve. Hail chat. I love this episode. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, so Salty, you love this episode. Pips, tell the world, did you love this episode?
Yeah, I think last week I said it was one of the strongest of the season, and I think this week was better than last week.
What about you, Steve?
No, I liked it. It was I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Oh wow, we're all on the same page tonight. Wow.
Yeah, no, it was
Debbie
good.
Downers.
It was one of those where actually we watched it together and had Nathan watch it with us, and I made a comment about it seemed short, and it did seem short because I was intent watching, following along, listening, and then you had the end pop up on you like, whoo, all right. And now you're ready for that finale. This is how you do these. This is how you do this stuff. Right, you know it's going to be all out mayhem in the next episode, and instead of like Carfoot's hugging and going off with
and we see close-ups of hands holding apples. Where have those hands have been?
If we start talking about that show, we're never going to be short on tonight. It'll be
an old man walking off with a 7-year-old at the end. That's what we get with the other one. So we'll leave it there.
Sniffing. Sniffing. Who likes ice cream?
It's true.
All right, so let's just get started on the breakdown. I know all you guys have you guys all have places to be, and you need to. This is why this is going to be a quicker episode than usual. So let's get started. All right, so we get a nice little montage in the beginning. We see it's nighttime. We hear somber music from the great Ramin Djawadi. Love his music. I think one thing that's consistent about Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. Great music, great soundtrack. Too bad I can never use it, or I'll get copyright claimed, or maybe even copyright struck. Who knows? But
yeah, you don't want that.
But yeah, we get like all, every week we see every room. We get a montage of every dark room, stairwell. We hear the somber music. We see a little boy leaving chambers. I'm assuming it was a little birdie. I'm assuming it was a birdie. I don't know. Do you guys think that was a birdie? I thought it was a little birdie. And he goes through the kitchen, whispers something to the one of the women. I think one of Alicent's attendants.
Yep.
And of course, then Alicent learns that the king is dead. So Viserys.
Okay, you meant the spy. You're saying little birdie. You mean it's a little spy, probably.
I'm assuming that little boy was a birdie. Like one of the white worms.
Yeah, I mean we know.
Oh yeah.
We know the attendant is right. So we learn that later. We know the attendant is and we know that she's not the only one. That there's a network. So,
but Pips. So check this out. Maybe I was overthinking this, but I thought this was maybe a double cross by that gimp who has the foot fetish, which I realized in this episode when he was punching one out.
I didn't like that. But we'll get to that later.
I was like, why is she? I was just like, why is she?
I thought that maybe somebody was messing with her head to divide her and isolate her because she wasn't going along with the program. But maybe I was wrong.
So if that was what they were doing, I think that they set it up really strongly for us to believe it, because you see the scene of her lighting the candles, the seven candles in the window, and then the long shot of the castle, and you see the lit window. And that was, in my opinion, her, Paul revering that the king is dead, if you will.
Okay, that makes sense. I get it. Yeah. It was one of those things where, is there a double cross going on because that bastard that I hate is messing with her now because she's outlived her usefulness to everybody now? Because she has, if we're honest about it,
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that some of those servants didn't get offed immediately. But, we see that Alicent is not the ruthless killer. We saw that last episode she gave the girl. I'm even more convinced now that was just moon tea, right?
Agreed. I agree.
Concoction.
I agree.
Yeah. I thought that before. Convinced utterly now after we see that she is not a murderer.
Well, I don't want to get the cart before the horse, but I said it to Salty too. I like how the last minute, what she understood as him saying that she wanted Aegon to rule was not even really important to the small council. The small council's like, well, we're doing it anyway. That's just okay.
Yeah, I liked that.
We can. Well, that's just a cherry on top, man. Okay, great. Okay, good. That'll make it even better. It's like what? It's like, no, we were doing this already. This is happening.
Yeah.
Just get on the train or it's leaving the station. I was like, oh shit. Okay.
If the queen was smart, she would have taken the head of everybody in that room. They'd just been no. But now this sets up what happens in the season finale, like a legitimate season finale, episode 10.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, since we kind of got all over the place on that. So
sorry.
If I remember correctly, I think when she lights the candles, was that when they were when the Silent Sisters were embalming the king, or was that before?
Yes. I don't remember exactly when it happened.
Yeah, it was when the Silent Sisters were mummifying.
It was around that though.
Okay, all right. So, So we get this emergency High Council meeting right away. Everybody's called in, and only one of the council objects to what they're trying to do, and of course that's Lord Beesbury, the Master of Coin.
Yep.
So what ultimately happens? Basically, Kristen tells him to shut him, shoves his head in the stone, killing him. It made me think of Qyburn. Remember Qyburn? Remember how he just got his head smashed against the banister by the mountain in the series in Game of Thrones? Same idea. So, of course, there was a great moment. I still wish we would have seen more of Graham McTavish as a Lord Commander Westerling. Because I loved that. That was a great tense moment where he draws his sword to Sir Kristen. I was like, what's going to happen here? Because in the source material, in the World of Ice and Fire, he's dead. He dies, and Kristen becomes the Lord Commander. They changed it here. So here,
I liked it.
Westerling resigns.
So we've talked before about how he's a good actor and he's doing a good job in the role, and he just hasn't really had much to work with. I'm assuming that he's just going to kind of ride off into the sunset and not be another factor because he was supposed to be dead. He might go over to Rhaenyra's side, but my assumption is that he just, ripped his cloak off and we may not see him again.
Yeah.
And if that happens, especially, I'm glad that they gave him a scene that way. And I think it's especially good because it was him versus Kristen, and Kristen, who has dishonored the cloak, dishonored his vows, and the Lord Commander Westerling, who's just like, nope, I'm a king's guard, and the king is gone. I'm gone.
Well,
I thought it was great.
He's not an idiot, I think, is one of those. It's like, look, I can't be a part of this, but I'm going to resign and get the F out of here. Because if I don't, I'm dead.
I assume
he would
kill
be.
him.
I thought they were going to.
He would be. That's what I thought too.
He would be. Yeah.
I thought Kristen was going to go right for him as soon as he resigned. I thought I was going to try and take him out. And I'm just in there going, get the F out of the room.
Because he literally turned around. He looked back when Westerling was leaving. So I honestly thought he was going to die right there. So but just once again, it's just how many times is Kristen dishonored the cloak to the point where there's no consequences whatsoever. This was one of my few few issues I had with this episode and with other episodes too. I'm just like, how long are you gonna fucking suffer this asshole?
Yeah.
Well, he needs to get laid. That's very clear. I think if he got laid, his worldview would change.
Well,
it came to a head though, right? Where the Lord Commander basically is like, hey, drop your sword, take off your cloak. I'm done with your shit, right? Yeah. And then the queen stepped in and was like, no, that's not going to happen. And then he's like, sweet. So you already just cut my balls off by, basically taking command of the guard from me. And you're trying to make me dishonor my oath you're trying to order me to go kill the named heir. No, I'm out.
Well, yeah, I think that just makes him an even better character, because in that room where you just saw somebody get murdered for saying this is treachery, this is wrong, they killed him, and he still says this is not right. I resign.
He was acting the hell out of that scene too. I feel like I could hear his teeth grinding.
No, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. He has that I'm over 50 and you can eat my ass. I don't care what you think. Because that's what happens when your odometer turns over 50. Because in your 40s, you stop caring. But when you turn 50, you're like, I don't give a shit at all what you say or what you do. Kind of, that's a true story. You'll get there.
Especially for those times or those people, right? He's like, I only got like 3 more years before the plague kills me.
Oh yeah, I mean, in my head canon again, because I didn't read the source material, so I am unreliable with this. This is just a fantasy watcher's perspective, and it should be taken as such, just one dude's opinion. In my head canon, that guy got away, and he'd been socking away money for a long time. He's probably got some fresh filly, in her early 40s that he's going to go hang out with, and they're basically going to drink and fornicate like wild animals. And that's what I want for that character, because I liked the actor and the portrayal of that character. It may not be canon. I accept that. If I knew that, I would probably have a different feeling on it. But because I didn't read the source material, I'm like, cool. I let the older guy ride off into the sunset. I respect that.
Now, if I remember correctly, the reason why he dropped his cloak and everything was because they ordered him to go and kill Rhaenyra, go take a bunch of people, go kill Rhaenyra on Dragonstone. Be quick. And I think the quote is, "Be quick and be clean about it." And he's like, "No, I'm not going to do that." So so we get that. So
it wasn't quite the Barristan the Bold scene, and that's the only sort of dull spot I'll give that scene, is that it was clearly a nod to Barristan Selmy, that scene in the original show, and not as well done. As good.
I love that he's like, takes the sword, drops it in front of Joffrey. He's like, "Here, boy, take it and add it to the others."
That was it totally got those vibes, and not obviously that's what I'm getting from age. I'm getting Joffrey vibes from
Aegon. From Aegon. Oh yeah. We'll get to that. So So what was next? So we got so Allison and Otto are looking for Aegon. So Aegon is missing. So a big portion of the episode is where's Aegon? Aegon, where are you? Aegon, do where are you?
Yeah.
We need you to be the king now. Okay.
Yeah. Don't forget lesbian Velma.
I was going to say the dog's not even in it anymore. So is that still the song?
No, Velma's in it. Velma's in it. The dog is in it. Yeah.
Scooby Dooby Doo. Yeah. So, all right. So we meet. I think this is the first time we meet Sir Eric. I forget what his last name is.
Oh, Sir Eric's been around, but really, this is the most he's had to do, right? I mean, he's been sort of floating around in the background, but he hasn't really like had a main. He's just sort of been floating around, going, "Oh, I lost him again."
So we have two Sir Erics. There's Sir Eric with an A and there's Sir Eric with an E.
Brothers, right?
They're twin brothers.
Yeah. Okay.
And what we see is what is ultimately going to happen. One's going to be on the side of the Greens, Alicent and Aegon, and the other, I forget, I don't even remember which one's which. And the other one is going to be on the side of Rhaenyra and the Blacks, you know. So it's going to be Blacks versus the Greens. It sounds so problematic, but you know what? I'll say it, you know. But yeah, so they're looking. So Otto sends one of the I forget which of the Erics. He sends one of the Erics to go look. He says, "Grab your brother, go and find Aegon." And then at the same time, Alicent sends Sir Criston to go look for Aegon, and Sir Criston gets, or then Aemond decides to go with Criston against his mother's wishes, but Aemond is not going to let. She doesn't have that power over him that she kind of does over Aegon. So that's an interesting thing. Aemond is, of course, way more based. We learn about this as, you know, as they're walking and looking for Aegon. Like, you know, Aemond is well versed in history, he's well versed in philosophy, and he's well versed in the sword. And he's got the biggest fucking dragon. So he's kind of there. We see him kind of stating that he's jealous of Aegon's position, feels ungrateful, feels, you know, the ungrateful, like, you know, he's annoyed at his brother's ingratitude in his position. So because his brother doesn't want to be king. So
sorry, Pips is just dropping some truth bombs in the chat. Just I'm sitting here nodding.
Yeah, well,
share them.
Well, it's like, well, there's a lot of and look, everybody, Lady Balefire and Gazillionaire aren't you know, it went a little long, but you learn a lot about all of your secondary characters that you don't know much about in this whole thing. You learn a lot about Aemon. You learn a lot more about Crispin. You finally learn a little bit about Eric. And then you ultimately learn that Aegon really doesn't, you know, he's self-loathing and he doesn't want to be king, and he's lived, you know, and then you learn in the ride back that he thinks his father hates him. Yeah. So you learn a lot about, and now it was a little bit long maybe, but you learn a lot about all of your characters, and you learn the state of Flea Bottom. You see that the kids are being, you know, taken and used to fight and fighting pens for bets.
Also,
you know,
set up White Worm better than she's been set up before, although her accent is still atrocious, and they should have never had her do an accent.
you guys, I need to ask a legitimate question, and I'm not asking it to be weird or problematic. I can't think of a better word. But did you get the inference with those illegitimate children that Aegon had that maybe he was a bit of a Mr. Bad Touch with the younglings, that's the way his taste ran? Because I kind of got that inference that maybe he liked he liked the 15 will get you 20 statutory crowd.
Well, I mean, you had, you know, they went by the first house, and it was one of those like his tastes lead another way, right? So
they were undiscriminatory.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure if that was towards the pedo or towards the other varieties of races, I wasn't sure, to be honest.
I'm assuming it was the P word.
I think it's the P word.
I think the serving girl that we know that he banged before was not so young. Like, none of us talked about that in that episode, so I don't think that she was super young.
She was accessible. That was the thing. She was accessible, but
potentially. I mean, I guess I don't have strong opinions on that aspect. The thing that I liked, and I think so some of the people in the chat are saying, he's not supposed to be a complete degenerate. So that the arc that I got for him in this episode was that he felt like his father didn't love him, his father didn't choose him, he felt rejected, all this stuff. So he's been acting out the whole time. And then the mother opens the case with a knife, and she says like, like, are you serious right now? And she's like, yep. And then you see the transformation that happens with him as he actually gets crowned. He turns around, and one of two things is going to happen. Either he's going to be like a flip on a light switch, and he's going to act out even more aggressively all of those simmering, burning stuff, or we're going to find out that like he was, acting out, my daddy doesn't love me, and now he's going to turn into a more normal person. I don't know. I felt like a transformation happened.
Yeah, I think we're going to go full Joffrey on this. I think he's going to go full tyrant. But I think you're absolutely right. Is there was a moment he went from full degenerate to being affirmed that his father loved him and chose him by his mother. His mother said, "No, your father chose you. He loved you. He wants you to be king. I swear it." Basically, and it's like, oh well. Wow. Okay. Cool. And then he changes, right? At least from what we saw, we didn't get a lot of them after that, so it gave the appearance of a little bit of like sort of changing. But I agree with you, Pips. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, he took out the sword, and then he did Emperor Palpatine and raised his hands. So yeah, he's fully embraced the kingship, and let's just say his reign is going to be pretty.
He marries his crazy sister, doesn't he? And they call him Egan the Mad.
So they have two kids, and of course he doesn't love her, and he doesn't even want to. And of course his mother calls him an imbecile. Thanks, Pips. Because he's not sure if she's being truthful, and she's like, "You're an imbecile. Come on, believe me."
He asked, "Do you love me?" And she says, "You're an imbecile," which. Not as good of an answer from your mother as, like, obviously, of course, I love you, whatever. But he is an imbecile, so I can relate.
I think he's a true degenerate. I really do.
I lean that way as well. I think the transition is that before he was like, I don't want this. He was like cowering. He was, trying to flee and shirk the responsibilities. And I think now he's going to like kind of own it. Not necessarily a good way. I don't think anyone's going to be happy about it. But
no, he's gonna do what the current crop of SJWs and people on Twitter do, which is it's everybody else's fault for their unresolved daddy issues. That's gonna happen.
Probably. Yeah.
Even Joffrey had daddy issues. Robert paid him no attention, and then when he did pay attention, he was abusive.
Yep.
Like he was also with Cersei. That's why Cersei loathed him and everything. So, and that's why the realm bled, because of what Robert did.
There's an argument that the realm was better off with Robert Baratheon as king. So a lot less blood was shed while Robert was king. Just saying.
Well, for over a decade, that's true. For over a decade, that's true. Thanks to Jon Arryn, and of course,
Yeah, and then when they killed everybody, the realm went into chaos. So
yeah.
So we're getting off track. Sorry, go ahead.
I know. Yes, we are. So, all right. So we get like another. So we see Rhaenys, and she's still in King's Landing. She wakes up. Of course, we find out her chambers are locked. She can't get out, and she looks outside her balcony, and she sees all like the cleaning ladies, the attendants. They're all being rounded up and thrown into the black cells, and of course, there we see creepy Laris Clubfoot himself, just standing there and just kind of smirking as everybody's being put into the black cells. I'm like, and they're not going to put them to death, are they? But we didn't see that, so I'm assuming they were just being held there until the coronation, until everything is set, because they were keeping everything on the hush hush.
Yes.
King's death, they didn't want anyone to find out, so that they can get him, they can crown him king, and then and have the capital, and then of course get their banners ready for war. So, all right, so 1 page down, 3 pages to go. So,
I forget where we're at now. So just because there is a scene that bothered me but I'll talk about when we get there. I think we're getting close.
We already talked about Alicent ordering Kristen to find what's his name, Aegon. Okay, we get auto appeals to the court and to the houses to stand with Aegon, and some of them kneel. The ones that are, the ones that support Aegon kneel right away, and then the ones that stand are, some of them are unsure, but two of them in particular basically say that we are not oath breakers. We support Rhaenyra, and so those two are taken away, or they're like, we're gonna actually, no. First thing, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. They wanted to confer with their houses first, and
That's what the one guy said.
Yeah, and Otto's like, no, you can't leave. You have to make a decision now. And then they're like, well, okay, then we're going to have to decline. We're on Team Rhaenyra, and of course, then the I don't know if it was the Gold Cloaks. I think it was the Gold Cloaks there that took them away. Or was it the White Cloaks? I don't remember.
That doesn't matter.
They were taken. It doesn't matter. They were taken away. So whoever on that side is going to.
It was the Gold Cloaks or just the Targaryen kind of house guard. It was people in red armor. So
who was the stand? I didn't reckon the standout that tried to sneak out of the city after, that was sort of like being wishy-washy about it.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
What house was he with?
That was my disappointment with this scene. I don't feel like we knew who any of those people were.
I think he was the guy that
said house fell, and that was all we got.
Yeah. Okay, I think he was the guy that, remember in episode 6 when Rhaenyra is, she just gave birth, and Laener's walking her to Alicent's chambers, and I think he's the one that actually, says, "Hello, Your Grace. Is there anything we can do? Be of service?" I think that was him.
I mean,
we've
seen him before.
Yeah, we've seen him, but I don't know what house he belongs to. Like,
yes.
I mean, I know they mentioned Storm's End's going to be an issue, so you can assume it's maybe a Baratheon.
No, he's not.
I don't know.
He's not, because we've seen the guys in Storm's End, and I don't think any of them were there.
Okay,
I just feel like, I don't know. It would have been nice if at least the 3 people who were standing had done kind of like the other one. Housefell is not gonna switch our oath, and the others had said it as well. It would have been nice. Yeah,
I'm with you. Agreed. I just was confused. It would have been nice to know who was the holdouts.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem. I mean, yeah, but long live the king.
So. Well, the rest of the scene pretty much went exactly. You're going to have your, few that are brave enough to dare them to do what they, it's like, okay, I'm going to hold out. What you're going to do, and see if they're actually going to do it, right? So
yeah,
the rest are going to kneel. That's just how that's going to go, right?
I'll be honest. I was surprised. I was surprised how long, going forward, I was surprised how long I thought they were going to find Aegon right away. I was surprised how long it took them to find Aegon. They were like going from, they went to.
It took a while.
Yeah,
it took a while.
Yeah, so we got conversations. We learn how Aemon feels, and we learn. I mean, obviously, Sir Eric and his brother go to the. I don't know what to call that place. It's like cockfighting, but with children.
Yep.
Cockfighting, but with 4 children. I think it was 2 boys and 2 girls.
I think
so fucked up.
I think I saw a sign over the door. It said Jeffrey's Island. Can I say hello to some people in chat? Hail to
Zax.
I want to say hey to Zax. I know, brother, you're probably on the way back from your multi-week journey in Spain and Portugal, and hail to you. I hope you get back safely, and I need your vocal talents for a special project that I'm working on. Hail to Godzillionaire, hail to Lady Balefire, hail to Shane Noland, hail to Lael Rose, and of course to Sadukar. I probably blew your name up, but it's great to see you guys. Just wanted to shout you guys out. Thank you.
So I got Godzillionaire's a comment right here. Do you guys feel this was feelings in Flea Bottom as opposed to feelings in hallways?
There's a difference, right? So one of the things those talking in hallways scenes are so annoying is because literally nothing is happening, whereas there was actually a plot event that was transpiring, and you're talking about looking for a single person in a city like King's Landing. It's gonna take a little bit of time, right? And there's a couple phases that they went through where every time you saw them, they were a little bit farther along. Now they had run into somebody, they're gonna buy some information. Some of it was a little bit contrived, but like you kept seeing different relationships kind of going with the 2 brothers, with Kristen and Aemon. I think, could it have been shorter? Yes.
Sure.
True.
But I think
I was
that-
interested.
You
Yeah,
I was
learn a
interested
lot.
the whole time.
The difference is like feelings in hallways are boring. They talk about
Yeah.
nothing. They talk about just
Yeah.
feelings without any consequence.
Yes.
Here we're talking. Here they're doing something. We're actually learning quite a bit about these
A
characters.
lot of the State of King's Landing, and then you most important. I think probably most importantly, you learn that Aemon thirsts for the throne. He wants it. He wants it.
Yeah.
He doesn't think that Aegon is
yeah.
worthy. He's trying to get Crispin on his side. He's like, you know what? Let's just not find him. Let's go. I'll take the crown.
He's got a lot of his Uncle Damon in him, and I really like that that's happening because that happens in families. I mean, like if you have a brother and you have a kid, and the worst things that you hated about your brother, you get in your own kid. It's funny how that works. God's funny that way. But as far as the feelings about hallways things go, I can see where you're coming from with that. But I think what they were trying to do was build up some depth to the characters, because we saw what one of those characters later did with sneaking out the princess, and you're like, well, why would this guy sneak out the princess? Well, because we needed to care about this character, to see the morality, which would then lead to the action that he takes. So was it done 10 out of 10? No, I think it was 7, 8, but at the same point it wasn't hey, let's scissor, like most feelings in hallways are about.
Well, it wasn't two. It was two
Really?
people walking through. It was most times there's
I'm not
people
wrong,
walking-
Pips. I'm not wrong.
It was no
people
Wheel of
walking
Crime
through-
episode 6.
It was
Oh,
people
no.
walking through an active world. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
place that's lived in, having conversations. Now, you know what? If it was boring, then it was. I was engaged, so maybe it went a little long, sure, but I felt like I was learning a lot about everybody involved and what was going on. And look, sometimes to put pieces together, like I think if it didn't take a little bit of time, it would have been more silly because they don't know where he is. It's a long. For all they know, freaking Damon grabbed him in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
They don't know where he's at. They don't know where to look.
Yeah.
It's a big place. So I don't know.
There's the thing that I will say is that there was very little repetition of previously learned information. So, we are seeing these characters interacting, some of them for the first time that we've actually like gotten some dialogue. In fact, I think all 4 of those characters was really the first time that we've gotten extended dialogue other than Cole.
Yeah.
But we still, Cole was there for us to learn about Aemon. Aemon had to have somebody to talk to, right? So I think that that's what made it a success in my mind, is that I was interested because it was new information. It was actually moving something. It was developing and broadening things. But
Oh yeah, definitely. But going back to the kid place. So I'm assuming that was also a brothel because that's where he went. That's where Aegon went to have kids. Like
Connected, maybe
we saw
They might be-
we saw one bastard, and they're like, oh, there could be more.
It's probably all connected in some sort of. I don't know that it's the brothel because the White Worm, she was pretty abhorrent. She was pretty pissed off that this whole thing was happening. So I would think it probably is separate from the brothel. It's probably just somebody taking advantage of all the kids that are coming from the brothels. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought his kid was there because we're led to believe that he's just banging people in alleys all over the city. He's got, I mean, even the comment was, that's one of many, right? So like this dude's got bastards. So
Yeah. And it was just crazy. It was so heartbeaking to see, like, kids, like they're talking about how they sharpen their nails and they file their teeth to be used as weapons, and just to see kids screaming is just, I don't know, it's just fucked up to me. It's so hard. It was not an easy thing to watch.
Yeah, it's hard to watch when children are taken advantage of.
Yeah, and you see the
physically mutilated, regardless of what era we're talking about.
Yeah, and then that leads to adults, doing the same thing to the next generation of kids, and it's a cycle and a cycle and a cycle. So yeah, good on the White Worm to want to end that. I was like, yeah, definitely, fuck that shit. But all right, but I want to keep going. So here, so the twins were at this cage / kids fight, and they're approached by Jane. Reason why I know her name is Jane is because the subtitle said so. So this little girl's name is Jane, and she's an associate of the White Worm, of Missaria or whatever her name is. And they're like, we want an audience with the king. I think they said the king initially, and they're like, that's impossible. So they bring out Otto.
I thought she would just went right to the hand. I don't know. Did she ask for the king? It doesn't
I
matter.
think the girl asked for the king, and they're like, no, it's impossible. They didn't state why, obviously.
I thought they went right to the king.
I thought
it was the hand. I thought it was right
for the hand because first of all, the worm knows that the king is dead, right?
Yeah.
Second of all, I thought it was, as illustrious as you two representatives of the keep are, like we're only gonna talk with the hand of the king.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did deal with the hand when I think Rhaenyra, when the kids saw Rhaenyra leaving the brothel.
And even then, I think that that would be silly for them to ask for the king, right? Like literally nobody is going to ask for the king and ever get that request honored. So like it makes sense you ask for the hand, maybe, like especially if you have a relationship sort of there, which she does. She's fed information to him before.
Yeah, and so we get this. I'm just going to skip and we get this scene where Otto and her are together, and they're basically negotiating. He wants to know where Aegon is, and she's like, I'll help you install your king, and I want you to remember that I helped you do this, and everything. And I think it was because we could have killed him, we could have done anything. So I'm assuming he was kidnapped. I'm assuming they kidnapped him or something.
Found him, kidnapped him.
I was
either or, same deal.
Yeah. So I was curious what was going on. So the Erics basically find out that he's basically under a. So there's the Great Sept. I don't know if it's called the Great Sept, but it's a big sept, and you have all those, you have those circular, pillars, those circular places where people light candles and everything. Well, Aegon is stuffed underneath one of them, and that's where they find him. And he's just like, I don't want to be king. I don't want to be king. He tries to run, and they take the Erics take him into custody. And then, of course, that's when Aemond and Kristen catch up, and they spot they have a fight. One of the Erics is fighting Kristen. Kristen disarms him, and of course, the brother doesn't help. I'm assuming that brother that didn't help is the one that spirited Rhaenys out of the castle.
He's the prince. Like, why wouldn't you kidnap the prince? Like, I don't know. I just Lady Bellfire's like, why did they kidnap the prince? Why not? It's a prince.
Yeah,
like,
I don't
so Lady Balefire, in my mind, the reasoning is fairly simple. The White Worm has all of her ears out. She knows that the kid is hiding around in Flea Bottom, all that kind of stuff. And then she gets the bat signal from her friend up in the castle that the king is dead. And she's like, yoink this drunk idiot. This is my leverage.
Yeah, now I have a piece of the game.
That's a pure power play.
The
Balefire, that was the lit menorah in the window. We talked about that.
Yeah. The other thing, I think it was. Sorry, Steve. I'll be quick. I was gonna say, I think another thing is, hey, this is who I am, Mr. King. Just so you know. Well, I think it's an assertion of dominance because it's a literal change of this king who's been king for I don't know how many years, but basically saying, just so you know, I run this town. You can run the castle, but I run this town. That's what I think it was. So
it gains her a whole, and the fight scene is showing that you have two sides. The father and the daughter aren't on the same page. So Alicent and I forget his name.
Otto.
Otto both sent out their dogs to go retrieve the king. So both those sets of dogs are loyal to their master, so they're going to fight to bring back the prize. So that's what the fight scene was about.
Yeah, they're fighting over the ear of the king. So Otto wants, total war. He wants put Rhaenyra to death.
Yep. And
Alicent does not want that. That's why she had Kristen and Aemond go and get the king first.
Yeah.
And so so now she's the one that's calling the shots.
And she's gained favor with Otto by giving him up. So, I mean, she got a lot from that whole deal.
And I have going back to Alicent. I know we skipped one particular scene. There's Alicent goes to Rhaenys and tries to appeal to her too.
I didn't like that too much.
Because it brought back, it kind of rekindled the, you're just a tool of the P to the A to the T to the R to the Archie. the archy. I'll say that. So
Malarkey.
and I was just like, yeah, malarkey. There you go. And I'm just
They're the
like,
same word.
I'm like, yeah, we've heard this before. Reenies, come on.
Yeah, that they could have cut that out. It was just like, it's like, come on, can we move
They should
on,
just make a
please?
time portal and send her to the late 60s so she can protest, sexual revolution or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just,
Yeah, I was fine with the scene of locking her up and having like a conversation, but
Yes.
the specific dialogue was a little dumb.
Yeah.
Agreed. All we are saying is give peace a chance. Where's my tambourine past the duchy? Yeah, the 60s.
I thought that was Bob Dylan that was the tambourine man.
Yeah, he was.
Until William Shatner covered that song a year later.
And we're gonna get high
as a kite by then. So
that is the best.
Yeah, that was much later. That was like in late 70s. That was late 70s that Shatner did that one.
Oh,
but he covered like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. He covered Mr. Tambourine Man in the 60s, around the time when he was Captain Kirk.
Nimoy crushed it on his solo album. He's just savage, but I'm derailing the show. I'm sorry.
I know. So am I. So you're not the only one. I'm going along with it too. All right, so that's 2 pages down. All right, so we talked about the meeting with the White Worm. They wants to put an end to the child fighting, and she basically, power plays. She says, "I could have easily killed your heir to the throne." Blah blah blah. So we already went past that. We talked about the twins already. They find him in the sept. Aegon, of course, wants to leave, and so Aemond actually tackles and fights Aegon. And takes him in custody, and Aegon's like telling him, just hey, you want to be king? Just let me go. Let me take a ship. Let me go to, I think what they say, Yiti or something, which is like way like China. It's like
I think he just said a ship. I think the Yiti line was earlier when it was Kristen and Aemond talking about he could be anywhere. He could be on a ship to Yiti.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Thanks, Pips. So he wants to leave, and of course, Aemond is not duty. I think duty is what keeps Aemond from not letting him go. So there you have it. And of course, we have the Otto and Alicent scene. He says, "Well played," which I thought was great.
I think Kristen played more of a role there than you think. I think that where the decision point was, the two of them face to face. Yeah, and he's like, just let me go. You can be king. Let me go. And then all of a sudden, Kristen just kind of shows up in the eye line of the camera and is like, "Let's
go." Your mom's waiting.
Yeah,
your mom's waiting.
You're right. Yeah, that's pretty. I noticed that too. I can't believe I forgot that. Jeez. But yeah, that was a great. Yeah. So I have to ask this now. Do you think Aemond would have done it? If Kristen did not.
Not there. Too many people around.
Yeah, I don't think he
too
would.
Public.
Yeah, I think the Aemond that we've seen so far, he would have pushed him off a balustrade in the Red Keep, maybe. But
yeah, I think it's too public. It's yeah. I don't think. I think he wants. I don't know. I part of me thinks he's gonna he's gonna try and win Crispin's trust and maybe do it that way.
Yeah.
Because I think Aegon's going to be terrible. He's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe he's utterly convinced that his brother is going to drink himself into an early grave. And he's like, I just have to wait for this idiot to.
Could be that. Could be that. Well, war is about to break out everywhere. Like anybody that doesn't think this is going to be a clean succession is fooling themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question.
It had a lot of 4 a.m. November 2nd, 2020 to this episode.
Okay, I got a question for you, gentlemen. Do you think the Otto and Alicent, that little conversation they had, do you guys think that was kind of repurposed based on earlier conversations that they had? Talking about her being used as a chess piece. Well, maybe not the two of them, but I don't know. I just couldn't help but be familiar. I felt that the conversation felt very familiar.
I mean, I think she's finally figuring out that that's exactly what she was. I don't know what she thought otherwise, but I don't remember it being repurposed anywhere. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was repurposed dialogue.
So it wasn't a wasted scene, but I think that this scene was one of the disappointment. This one and the one in the carriage. I think the carriage scene should have happened in the Red Keep at night, or like as soon as he comes back. We should have seen her, talk to him then. And the scene that happened in the carriage should have been in the Red Keep instead of this scene with her dad. That's kind of what I thought, because the whole thing was you got to get to him first so that you can plant in his ear the thing first. But I don't necessarily know is reused.
I don't know. It just felt like a familiar conversation. I haven't rewatched a lot of the episodes, so I can't really state. That's why I was asking that. That's why I posed the question. So if you guys say,
no,
so,
I think it's more her stating what we already know, so it might seem familiar.
Bye, Zax. Have a safe flight.
Bye, Zax.
Sorry.
X.
He's taking off.
You know what I mean? I mean,
yeah.
Us as viewers already know that she's being used left and right by Otto to get himself better positioned. So maybe that's just her voicing what we already know. That's why it sounds familiar. But I don't know.
It is interesting that Viserys' loathing and disdain for Hightower, it really hit home this episode. Like, this dude was just groveling and scraping for how many years for this moment, and his daughter is still just a pawn. Like, no feeling at all for this chick. She's just a piece of meat that allows him to get power. And now it's time for Daddy Hightower to get his piece. That's what this episode felt like. And
some comeuppance, some more comeuppance from his daughter this time. Years in the making.
I actually, so we talked a little bit about the council scene at the very beginning and some of these other things, what you're saying about Otto, right? I liked the break between her and her dad, between her and the council, her reaction to learning that her husband was dead. She actually showed some real emotion, which reinforced kind of how I had viewed her in the last few episodes, that she actually did care about Viserys, that she did care about, even Rhaenyra. Yeah. She was part of the king's family, not her dad's family. And I like that some of that is being reinforced. I feel like my view was kind of vindicated on her honestly believing the king's dying words were for her, and it wasn't purely cynical, right? So I like that she's not purely cynical. I like that we've seen that side of her. I know some people don't like that she's kind of hot and cold on what she wants, but she's a woman who has a childhood friend. They're now facing each other in war. Like, that's a complex situation. You're going to have complex feelings.
There's a big difference between, hey, I think that my son should rightfully be king, to let's murder my husband's whole family. And then Otto, I thought the Otto line was sort of bad, where he's like, do you think, I forgot exactly how he worded it. It was like, over his firstborn son. It's like, of course he does. He says something like, of course he does. Viserys wouldn't want his daughter murdered. Like, that's like, Otto, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He said, I forgot how he said it. It was like, no, of course Viserys wouldn't want that whole side of the family wiped out, especially now knowing that he has 3 pure blood grandchildren. Hell no, he doesn't want them wiped out. Are you kidding? So that was sort of a clunky, weird line. I'm like, Otto, you're smarter than that. Of course Viserys doesn't want that.
So he said something like, is this the wife of Viserys or the childhood friend saying this? Right. And I really wanted her to say both. I really wanted her to reply and throw it right back in his face and just be like, I am both of those people, and both of them are saying you're jacked up.
Yeah. I agree. Yep. I agree with that. I loved her. I wrote down, I loved her response when he was talking to her, accusing her of being squeamish. She's like, reluctance to murder is not a weakness. I thought that was a great comeback line right there. And then she says, I'm going to proceed as I see fit. And so Aegon's going to be installed. He's going to get Blackfire. Cole's going to be the Lord Commander. And of course, I love how Otto responds. He's like, instead of saying you win, he says, you remind me, the stars make you look like your mother right now. And she just, rolls her eyes and walks out. And then he's like, when she's gone, he's like, as you wish. So
Mhm.
I thought the way the scene ended was
Well,
great.
for now, as you wish for now, because
Mm.
it sort of aligns with how I feel things should be. I think a little bit was what that was. I don't ever think Otto will give fully, but
All right,
but
ready for the
it's like he didn't think that through. Murdering all of the Targaryens is gonna cause a whole bunch of crap. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
you're gonna piss a lot of people
Yeah.
off if you do that.
a lot, like a lot.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a no-win situation. You got to handle.
Yeah, I mean, so I kind of called this on the last episode with the women fighting. It's still a man's fault, but and I know some people are against that and they're like, oh, it's the wokeness and all this stuff. I think they're making it believable. I mean, Otto's the guy behind the guy, and he is ambitious and just out for himself. And I mean, he's the deep state just going to war, right?
Bingo.
And,
Bingo.
it's sure I get that they're potentially trying to drive that message, but it's not ham-fisted. It fits in the characters in the world that we're seeing.
Yeah, and it wasn't universal. And there was the one guy, good guy, the Meister, who was in charge of the purse, who's like, I can't do this. And it's generational though, and you could tell this all started with that asshole Hightower. I mean, this is Hightower poisoning everybody, and I mean, I think that's why he's so hell bent on destroying everybody, because I think he literally blames everybody else for him not being able to rise above his station, when really he's the one who was responsible for getting jacked out as the hand, because he was an asshole that was going over his station. I mean, and again, it's the fatal flaw. Is it a Shakespearean level story? No, but at the same point, this is a guy whose drive and his ambition are way above what he should be doing right now. This guy has everything. He does. He's got everything. His fucking daughter's the queen. Like, this dude could have everything he wants, and it's not enough.
He's
what
the
he
hand.
what he wants is to hurt more powerful people, and that's crazy. And unfortunately, we're seeing it a lot in current day too. So.
Oh yeah, like at the beginning of the series, like he already is a political enemy of Daemon.
Oh yeah,
and who knows who else? But yeah, so I have to ask, Otto versus Tywin.
Who's better?
Tywin Lannister.
Tywin.
You are no son of mine. That from Game of Thrones.
Just from the books, Tywin was a bigger asshole, but sometimes right.
Dude, there were times. Tywin is a ruthless motherfucker, but you know what? I still like him. So it's like it's one of those things. It's like I can still be like, dude, you're sort of right. You're a smart son of a bitch. Otto is very just power hungry, and he's making mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Tywin was definitely the better player of the game, right?
Yeah, I think Hightower's more like a guy who developed an operating system for software and then suddenly thought he was going to be a doctor of virology. We'll just say
I think the difference is Tywin is perfectly satisfied being hand and control, and knowing that the hand is probably the most important position in the kingdom because you handle everything, whereas the king is the figurehead. Hightower doesn't realize that he wants to be the figurehead, whereas Tywin is smart enough to know the most powerful person in the realm is the hand.
Yes.
Because he speaks the king's will. That's the difference between the two.
Yep. Yeah. He's the one that gets shit done.
Yeah. It's kind of like the XO, kind of like, Colonel Teague was on Battlestar Galactica. Also, I mean, you've got your CO, and I'm not going to get in, whatever, but man, the XO, he's the one who gets shit done, and just doesn't matter how it gets done. Gets done, and that takes power sometimes to do that stuff. And
it's a shame what happened to his actor. What happened to his actor? He got really. He's like
paralyzed.
I
still get the updates because I contributed, and he's still recovering.
What Tywin's actor got hurt?
No, Colonel Ty from the Battlestar Galactica remake.
Hogan.
Yeah, him too. He was. Oh man.
Yeah, just a good dude, great actor.
He was awesome. I like how he was about to shoot Starbuck in the very first episode. It's just they fucking hate each other. I was like, I gotta keep watching this, and it was great. I just loved it. So I know derailing this. I know you guys have to get going. So
sorry, I'll shut up.
All right, let's proceed to that Laris scene. that scene that
we can
all
just
want to
skip it.
talk
It was
about.
that was just like I don't know it.
This
I don't know.
one,
That was
I
weird.
think
That was
I'll say Lady
weird.
Balefire is probably right on this scene at least.
Yeah, I
What
completely
did Lady
agree.
Balefire
I'm just
say
saying
about this scene?
she clearly
What
didn't
the
like
fuck
this
did I just
episode.
watch? I think is probably what she
yeah.
said.
Because I'm like, why
I
is she?
dislike
Why
this
is she
scene.
putting her Why is she taking off her shoes and
That was
putting her
obvious.
feet on the thing? And I was like, and then she took off her socks, and then I was like, I wrote down a question mark arousal, and then you see his hand. He's moving. I was like, oh boy. So
Yeah,
what
he's,
is it with scenes? What is with modern shows now on masturbation?
Well,
We're
it's
seeing too much
look,
masturbation.
you are a queen. Who cares if he's good at getting information? You can buy people to get your dirty crap done. Like,
Yeah.
why
It
are you
weakened
so
both of their characters at
why
the
are
same
you so
time.
beholden to this freaking wretch who you should just have killed? Like,
I
okay,
agree.
it's
I
like-
would have waxed this dude a long time ago. The first time he killed all the Strongs, I would have had him
yeah,
been
He's
poisoned
a
because you know what?
kinslayer.
he's a kinslayer. Yeah,
If he can betray them, he can betray you.
Thank you. He has no loyalty.
Just point the finger at him right after it's done and be like, he killed. I know he killed him. He told me, and problem solved.
So
you can find a spy master.
What is this guy doing? Punching one out on the queen's feet? I mean, that's weird.
That's fucking.
That's really weird. Just gonna say that.
So I think, like I said, I think it weakens both the characters at the same time. So for him, you're like, before he was kind of an interesting character. He was crafty. He was out for himself. He was, whatever. And now apparently he's not power hungry. He's not, into the intrigue. He's not the Littlefinger character. He's just a perv, right? I'm like, cool. Yeah, exactly. Great. Took a decent character that had some like, oh, what's going on over there? And turned it into something, great.
It's like I'm gonna get all this info. I'll do all these things as long as you show me your feet so I can whack off. It's like, excuse me, what the fuck is this?
I don't know. We did see that with the president recently with somebody named Monica. I mean, these are the things. I mean, this guy can do anything he wants. It's clear he clearly doesn't get joy out of the deviltry that he does. He gets joy out of controlling people and making people uncomfortable. And it seems like women, it's gross, it's weird, but I think it may have been a ham-fisted setup for he's going to get what he deserves next episode. I
hope so.
And that's how I read this thing was, okay, now you guys, you didn't like him before, now you want to hate him. He's punching one out, looking at the queen's feet, and so something really terrible is going to happen to him next time.
So
maybe
the
or
problem
not,
the problem that I had with him.
Sorry, go ahead.
So the problem that I had with this scene really is about Allison, not about him. So like, I agree with you, Salty. I think, they're just making him gross and like, kill that dude, get rid of him, whatever. Right. And clearly there's now the rivalry between him and sort of the White Worm, who I think may be switching sides. I haven't read the books, but that's what it seems like it's building up to. So like that works, whatever. The problem is, like, ask yourself, okay, you're watching this scene. What must have happened? All of that, like, how did it get to this point?
Oh,
right?
yeah, I thought about that.
So she's apparently been doing this with him for a while, right? And that's the thing. It's like, okay, cool. I get it. This is probably them trying to inject some politics and the patriarchy, the malarkey. Sorry, the malarkey. Man, it makes her character weak and kind of gross. And like, she's the queen. She has so much power, especially when Viserys was still alive. You're telling me that this was happening? Like,
I know.
No.
But remember what the people, the actors and actresses and writers of the show said this queen was the embodiment of. Remember that? That she's the MAGA queen. So this is probably them crapping on what I mean, like, it's not a stretch to say that. Now, would it surprise me that these people make a good show, but maybe they're pieces of shit in real life? Maybe. But I mean, if this is their little we're making fun of virtually all of America at this point, the way they voted or whatever it is, it didn't work. And it really didn't work. I'm going to get some more wine.
It's yeah, I honestly don't see it. They're just spewing. The creators are just spewing their ideology. I wouldn't pay it too much mind. But Jeff P says here, I've enjoyed every episode so far. Guess I have the ability to enjoy it for what it is and not make it my passion to figure out how they should have done it. Well, you know what? We're glad you enjoyed it. And Jeff P., you're always welcome here. This is not an echo chamber. If you disagree with us on many things, state in the chat.
Well, and I do want to say, it's like, look, I get the source material stuff. I do. Like, I've been on. I don't know the source material, so I'm enjoying this as a good fantasy show. I don't have source material to draw back on. So
same thing with me.
I'm
just watching it.
You know, they're but
yeah.
I'm telling you right now, if I got anything resembling this for the Wheel of Time, I would have been happy.
I would too.
I'll just say it straight up. Like, I mean,
I would still have like 400 subscribers.
And I would
nobody would care. You know what I mean?
And look, I would be pointing out the things that it's like, okay, this is wrong. They could have done this, but I would have tried to, like, and it's of course it's a woulda, coulda, shoulda, because we don't have this, right? So I would like to think that if I got something resembling this for the Wheel of Time, I would have been able to go, well, this could have been this. I wish they did this, but you know what? This was at least well done.
Yeah.
Like.
So I want to caveat that and just say that, like, I haven't read the books here, so
me either.
I can't judge. I can't judge the aspect of my biggest complaints about the Wheel of Time. But I will say these shows had allegedly fairly similar budgets. I think this show was like 120 million. Wheel of Time was allegedly 80, and it ballooned to about 120. This one might have.
I think it was 120 totally ballooned for season 1. Pip, sorry to interrupt. Yeah. And for this, I think they had 365 or 370 million.
Oh, really?
But for 10 episodes, as opposed to Wheel of Time, which was
I heard that
episodes too many. So
I heard that it was $20 million an episode for Game of Thrones or the House of the Dragon, and it was only 12 to 15 for Wheel of Prime.
Well, that sounds about right. But I mean, you can't tell. I mean, you can't. Well, first of all, you can't. Okay, now I'm going to have an aneurysm. I mean, if we go back to season 1, Wheel of Time, there was no story. There was no character development. So even if they made new characters that were completely different, none of them had anything even resembling a character arc. All they did was walk around and cry, and Perrin kept his mouth open, and then Nynaeve is the bestest ever because she's a POC. Like,
totally agreed.
Who gives a about that? This show is imperfect. It is. The highest I've given this show is an 8.5, and I would hover around 7 or 6 on these episodes, but it's finishing strong. You know what I mean? It's doing more than breathing hard. You know, it's gonna get where it needs to go.
So look, all I was saying was that I've been enjoying this show, but I'm not willing to say that I would have enjoyed a Wheel of Time that is as good as this show visually and everything else, because I would like. I feel passionately about the lore in the Wheel of Time.
No,
so,
I
like,
get
maybe
that.
I'd be maybe I'd be some of these people in the chat.
You're right. I don't know. Maybe if I read it, I'd be like, God, this should have been here. It would have been so much better. I get that. It's just like I can't relate because I'm watching a show that's just a show. I don't know the source.
Material, right? So, and I'm not a shill for this show. I almost quit watching this goddamn show after episode 5. It ripped my heart out. I'm like, you can go yourself. Like, I don't need any more shit rate fantasy. I mean, after Wheel of Time, and then that goddamn show that sucks on Amazon, The Rings of Power. You know, this is enjoyable. It's enjoyable. And the crazy thing is, we had Nathan, a man of Manethrin, who some of you guys may know. He has not watched one episode of this show. And he wanted to hang out with us because we were talking about non-show things. But when this show started, he watched it and he enjoyed it, and he hadn't seen one episode before this. So I don't think you can do that with a lot of things. Now, again, have our standards gone down? Not in this case. Not in this case. This is an above average fantasy show, which has some brilliant moments in it. Not once during season 1 of Wheel of Time was it even below average. It was just garbage tier, you know, in my opinion.
I think that's fair. I mean, if you don't like this show, like, don't even turn on Wheel of Time or Rings of Power. Just don't even start it. Like, don't even start it. Like, that's just point blank truth. Like, if this one isn't tickling your fantasy bean, then don't touch those. Yeah. Don't touch it.
I thought it was the greatest show ever, Steve.
Which one? All of them?
Oh yeah, Rings of Power,
all the Star Wars, all the stuff.
Kenobi, Star Trek Discovery, and
Andor is
Picard.
great for sleeping. I'll tell you that. I don't know if anybody. I have fallen asleep on every.
Nobody's even covering that show. Look at where we've gotten. Not only has the audience walked away, but people on YouTube that they like to call rage farmers. This stuff is so goddamn bad. We're not even covering it. We're not. And it's not just me. There are dozens of creators who are like, oh, F this. I'm going to go build a birdhouse. That's literally what we're doing on YouTube right now. And I know you guys in the audience, are like, I don't want to watch this. I mean, who gives a shit about Andor or whatever?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the Renaissance Nerd, if people haven't checked out his channel, he's a big Star Wars guy, and I think he had a community post on his channel today, literally asking his fans, like, should I even keep doing this? He was like, I don't even care anymore. Like, there's more episodes coming. Like, should I just stop? Like, does anyone care?
Yeah, I know he loves Star Wars. Yeah.
I think
I'm going to stream with Adam now because I want to talk with Adam. I want to have a heart-to-heart with Adam about this because there's something going on. I was talking about it with Max Von Priestley. Dude, it's everybody. Everybody's like, oh, we're done. Like, it's when things are beneath contempt that they pissed away $1 billion on. We're not going to get tricked into giving them free marketing anymore, because if it's beneath contempt, why are we covering it? I mean, that's the position I've taken on these things. Now, again, to revert it back to what we should be talking about, which is the House of the Dragon episode 9.
Oh, shit, this is what we're here for?
No. I'm not criticizing. I'm telling myself this. This isn't my internal monologue. This is pretty good. Now, is it great? I think we have to wait for the final episode before we can make that determination. I wouldn't say this is the greatest thing ever made. I wouldn't say this is middling. It's somewhere between middling and pretty darn good for me. So
it's entertaining when you watch it at first, but I don't have, like, unlike with Game of Thrones, even seasons 5 and 6, like, I would rewatch the episodes the next day. I don't rewatch these episodes. So maybe it's because I'm a YouTuber now and I'm busier and I have less time on my hands, or I don't know. I honestly can't answer that, but I think it's a combination of that and just not wanting to rewatch them. I don't know. They're good. I mean, they're fun, they're decent, but it doesn't seem worth rewatching. And then I don't even pay when Rings of Power was on. I didn't even pay attention during your streams, Steve. That's why I said very little. Is because I just like
but you were there, bro. But you were there.
I was completely like,
I saw you get the box.
Dejected.
I saw you hey man, our last Rings of Power watch actually had quite a few people.
You guys are funny. I skip ahead and I go to the very end, dude, because it's like I walked away. I was getting 300 or 400 views on the live watches of Rings of Power, and I was like, I love people in chat, but I can't watch this show. I can't do this anymore. I can't watch this goddamn show.
Bad. Oh boy, yeah. So I'm right, but you were there, bro. I felt you. I felt you in the chat.
All right,
I thought that I saw that one scene where he kind of like acted like he was freezing for a second and then put a cardboard cutout in.
Balrogs hate leaves. All right, moving on.
Okay, we have one more page left. I know Steve's got to go pretty soon, so let's get this going.
Yeah, I got to go as well.
Yeah, so we get a montage. We get a nice little montage. We see the king, or sorry, not the king, Aegon eating. We see Otto thinking. We see Aemon thinking, sitting down thinking. Allison standing there thinking. Rhaenys is in bed, and she's thinking too, I guess. And then all of a sudden, one of the Erics just comes in. He's like, "We're gonna go. We're not sticking around for this. We're getting you out of here." So he spirits her out. I couldn't help but think of Sansa being spirited out of the Red Keep, but yeah, she gets spirited out. And of course, we see the bald guy. He's hung in the Maegor's Square or Holdfast Square. Yep. Maybe Shane or Lady Balefire can correct me what that little square is. That outside square in the keep. I don't know. But they're heading to the Blackwater, and of course, then we see that they're overwhelmed by it. So Rhaenys is kind of she got like if I remember correctly, she got pushed away from Eric, and it got swept in with all the other peasants.
Yep.
Everybody was being rounded up, being forced to attend the king's coronation. At least that's what I think was going on.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's exactly what it was.
And of course, also that night, the White Worm's place was burning.
Yep.
So she had So the Laris, so she wanted to remove power from Otto, or to have that little drop on her. So she decided to have Laris have the place, have the White Worms place burned. So that kind of explains why.
No body though.
No, we didn't see no body. So
don't trust it.
There's
You don't see the body.
You don't see the body.
That's going to cost probably Otto, I would imagine, since she's probably going to think that was Otto double crossing her. So
yeah, so it sets up the short story, even if it's, I don't even know if it's a short story, but it's called The Princess and the Queen, and it's completely fucked up. I won't say what it is, but it has something to do with blood and cheese. I'll just say that. Shane knows what I'm talking about. Lady Balefire knows what I'm talking about.
Okay, blood and
it's
cheese.
Fucked up, and it's probably going to be next season. And
I had Eastern European grandparents, and I probably ate that because we ate head cheese, we had duck blood soup.
I've had head cheese. It's not bad.
I know, duck blood soup. Charminia, you're Polish, dude. You know what I'm talking about. All right, never mind.
All right, so we got we get Aegon and Alicent in the litter. We already kind of talked about it. Of course, he's miserable. And of course, he asked a good question. He's like, "Are you toying with me, mother? Please don't toy." He's like, "Don't toy with me." So that was one time like Aegon kind of seemed a little bit, he stuck up for himself in front of his mother. Then, of course, he asked the mother if he loves him, she loves him and stuff. And he's like, "Yeah." She's like, "You imbecile," like Pips pointed out earlier.
I thought he was going to do something with that knife. Again, not having read this book. I've read, obviously, the other books within the series. But I thought he was going to do something with that knife, like knife Hightower or knife somebody else. Just like, because they call him Egan the Mad, but he didn't. So, hail the Roman of the Empire.
Roman of the Empire.
Hail, don't hail that guy.
And Roman of the Empire, I love all of your criticisms of Prophet of the Dragon. Hail to Nosferatu.
Roman of the Empire. Roman of the Empire likes Dawkins. That's all we got to say. Moving on.
That's why I'm friends with Roman of the Empire. You Philistine. Jeez.
Felicity? I didn't watch Felicity. That's your type of show.
I think that's J.J. Abrams, right? Felicity.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So there you go.
Philistine.
Okay.
You uncouth, non-Bible reading savage.
Maybe
I always say
a Freudian
Philistine.
slip.
I always say Philistine.
I think Salty was watching Felicity, or she has a poster in his room or something.
I will remember.
I'm sorry.
You.
I keep derailing it. I'm the one that has to go here soon. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. All right, so we get so the gold cloaks are hurting the peasants, and we get the coronation. And of course, Rhaenys is, like I said earlier, Rhaenys is forced to be there, but we don't really see her once the coronation begins. And of course, Otto's there, and he declares, and this was pretty cool. It was so epic. Like, there were so many people. It didn't seem like they were copied and pasted like in another greatest show ever.
We'll have to confirm, because that'll be a hilarious side-by-side shot of like, look at this with 700 actual people in it.
Yeah.
I made that joke when we were watching it. I was like, there's not one duplicated person in this crowd. Doesn't it look nice? Yeah.
Did the Wheel of Time do shit like that?
The Wheel of Time just didn't have any people in it.
People in it.
There's just a shot and there's just 7 guys. And you're like, this is an army?
Yeah, it's more like Rings of Power, because you have 2 people really close together talking at each other, doing nothing of value. And then they'll have a wide shot with some other people back there, like pretending to do stuff.
Wheel of Prime made outdoor settings seem small.
They did. And they
outside, and you're like,
well, and there were scenes in fields where you could see the dolly truck with the camera on it. They left tire tracks like in the grass, and it's like, they're like, screw it, nobody cares anyway. Yeah, Amazon's really good at caring about the source material.
Yeah.
So I want to say with the coronation scene with the gold cloaks, they all march out. They do their little sword line kind of thing. I just want to say, I'm going to knock them on this. That was super sloppy sword work, and it's not that hard.
What was wrong with that? I'm a normie in this regard.
I got that sword behind me. Weirdly, that's very similar to a procession you see in a lot of military weddings. And I've paraded enough drunk soldiers, sailors, and Marines into doing that motion way crisper than those people. And like I said, way less sober. They should have been able to do that better.
Okay.
It was a little narrow. It was a little narrow to climb under. Thank God he was short, dude. Just say that.
Yeah, my inner drill inspector was like, no, absolutely not. Get it back. But we'll leave it there.
But yeah, like they bring out the swords, and of course then then Aegon walks through them, and then of course we hear the horns. We hear the horns are sounded, and of course then Aegon's up there. Septon is anointing him. I just couldn't help but think of going to church. I've been Orthodox. The Orthodox do it. I'm sure the Catholics do it.
Oh yeah,
I think
sacrament. Yep.
They're doing just doing the painting a little cross. Doing little crosses. That's what looked like they were doing. I would think instead of a cross they would do the 7-pointed star because it's the faith of the seven. So, but it looked like they were doing brushing little crosses. But maybe that's my church going.
It did look like Ash Wednesday a little bit
it did.
without the ash, and I was like, wow, okay, well,
yeah. So we get that, and of course, we get I think Kristen is the one. Of course, here's where we get so Kristen is called the Kingmaker for a reason because here he crowns the king and says Aegon is the true heir to the Iron Throne. And of course, look, we get a shot of the peasants. They're just kind of like they don't look like they're giving a shit.
Yeah.
But then when Aegon raises his sword, Blackfire, and raises his arms, then they all cheer. Everybody's screaming. It's great. It's magnificent.
They cheered
and
before.
then
it took them a minute to pause, but
so it was a little pause, and then like one or two people started clapping, and then it kind of opened up because he didn't draw his sword until he had already kind of started to have that confirmation, like the confidence kind of came to him, and then he was like, yeah.
And it kind of reminded me of Joffrey with Marjorie when he was walking out when they were walking out of the Sept of Baelor, and she's like, come on, my king, and she's like, because all the peasants love Marjorie, and then he's just like, he's like, okay, yeah, I like this. That's kind of what I felt too about Aegon. They had the same. They reacted the same to the people. First, it was indifference, and then as the cheering went on, they started to bask in that. They started to bask in that. I'll call it glory or something, or fame or whatever. I don't know. But
absolute power, which absolutely corrupts. You could call it that. But,
yeah, I can't say I wouldn't. I'm not an exception either. I love that feeling. Just yeah. So here we get. So here all of a sudden we get like a bunch of civilians in the center of the procession are dead, or they're just blown up. I was like, oh yeah.
Well, we saw her.
I was like, holy crap.
You saw her sneak away. You're like, here it comes.
Yeah, and then I'm like, here we go. And then I'm like, for a second, I saw a red dragon. I was like, is this Caraxes? Is Daemon here? Is Daemon confronting them right here? How did he find out? What's going on? I kept
hoping for him to appear from behind the throne and start
Daemon,
stabbing people. I was like, because I didn't read the books, but I was like, please let Daemon know all about this. And I had this theory that Daemon had actually poisoned the king to put him out of his misery and knew that this was all going to happen and already had a plan. That's what I, as a non-book reader, wanted, because I was like, oh, let this set off this chain of events that gets crazy. But it took a linear fashion. I'm not disappointed. I was hoping for something like that, to be honest with you. So,
yeah. So of course the rider of the dragon is Rhaenys. So she somehow managed to get all the way back to her dragon, somehow sneak there, even though like she wanted to go there in the first place. And Eric was like, no, it's going to be the first place they'll find you. So does that mean that nobody was there guarding the dragon, or
I kind of assumed that probably not a whole lot of things and people need to guard the dragons. I think they probably take care of themselves.
Pretty much. That's what I
mean. You got the tamers, and that's pretty much it. But
yeah,
who knows how often they go in? So, but yeah, Rhaenys shows up, and the dragon screams at them, and then she fucks off and flies away. The end.
I did like I'm giving you more warning than you were going to give to Daemon in Rhaenyra's. That's the way I saw it. Is I have
subtext.
Dignity. I like that dignity. I mean that's what I thought. It was like we are coming for you. And the look on her face was just, this is us declaring war on you.
Yeah, that was a
You're not
declaration,
declaring
exactly.
war on us. You
I
know?
actually really like what you just said, because one of my kind of niggling sort of complaints was she just declared war. And if you're going to declare war, like, you go for the throat, right? Like, you don't screw around.
Pearl
Like,
Harbor.
there's
Harbor.
no way that, this isn't war personally with you. You just killed a bunch of people at the coronation. Like, you are on the lipstick list, right?
The lipstick
and
list?
So lipstick list.
It's a foot
term.
thing. It's a foot thing, Steve. Yeah.
And so I was like, man, like, I would have almost liked it if she just busted out and just kind of flew away, because I thought the confrontation was like, you knew that she wasn't going to kill him, but in that situation, a rational, real person would have killed them, right? Like,
I wanted her to.
But
I wanted her to.
The way you said it, I like that. That actually kind of closed it for me, because I think you're right that she has some dignity. She plays by the rules. I like that interpretation.
Also, she was a prisoner, and I think what she did is she looked them in the eye and was like, whatever you think you can do to me, you can't. I mean, I don't know. That's the thing about entertainment, is it's so subjective to a degree, but that's what I read. It was, this woman is looking at a ceremony where she should have been the king, the queen again. And she watched this procession, and she watched someone else get the crown that she should have had. And she wanted to be there because she probably felt that, going back to episode 1, again, this is all Salty's headcanon. It is like she was there and just, she asserted her dominance. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, I just took that as the sign of power, where we're kin. I have respect for you, but the next time I see you, I am going to wear your head as a hat. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. I kind of like I said, I like the interpretation of sort of the respectful kind of warrior sort of idea. Got a question. I know I always do this to you guys. Got a question for you guys. Was Maylis the beast beneath the boards? Or is Aegon and what he's going to become the beast beneath the boards? Because we've heard Helena say that a few times.
I don't know. She's going to marry him. So maybe it's foreshadowing for the horrible shit that he keeps doing after he marries his sister.
I thought they were already married. They already have kids.
Were they?
Yeah, they already have kids.
All right, then I'm totally not paying attention.
Who's Maylis again? That's
the dragon that popped up through the floor. Literally the beast beneath the stones.
Rhaenys's dragon. Okay, I forgot. All right, I forgot the name of that.
I will say that watching the scene, Lady Pips was like, the dragon's gonna bust out through the floor, the beast beneath the boards, and then it happened. And so I'm like, maybe she's right. I've been thinking it was Aegon the whole time. So
I don't know. I think we need to answer that question after the next episode, maybe, but you raise a good point, because I've been ignoring what that crazy bitch been saying, and I guess I shouldn't, because it's important. But yeah,
she did forecast the loss of the eye, right?
True.
And so it means something. They've had her say the same line twice in 2 different episodes. So like, it's gotta be something.
So, all right. So we're already at the end of the line. I know you guys got to get going. So let's do final thoughts. We'll start with Salty. What did you think? So, final thoughts on the episode overall.
Let me finish choking my wine. I wasn't ready for that one. I think this was for me probably in the top 2 or 3 episodes of the season. I liked the pacing. I liked that the characters, again, this is incredibly subjective. I liked that these characters, I could see the arcs of all these people. I really could. And I cared about some people. There were new people that, we did spend some time in Flea Bottom dicking around a little bit with people we didn't know. But I think that was building because something important is going to happen with those people. I have to find out what happens next. I have to. And this whole episode, I just wanted Daemon there. I wanted Daemon there. Where's Daemon? Because Daemon's going to know what to do. But, I give this an 8.5. I do, which may be the highest rating I've given to the series, because I enjoyed it. I really did. You know, and the most enjoyment I've gotten in the last week, believe it or not, was watching Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
That's a great
That's
movie. That's a great
that's
movie.
that's what I'm doing for entertainment is I'm watching that. And I don't know, this is a breath of fresh air. Again, is this going to be a classic? I don't know, but it's entertaining now. So that's my take on it. Thanks for asking.
All right. What about you, Steve?
Hey, 8. I think probably an 8, 7.5, 8. There was a few wonky scenes. I think that lightning going in the background. Sorry.
Ooh,
But
spooky.
I was engaged for most of it. I liked a lot of the dialogue. I think we learned about a lot about characters that we didn't know about that are obviously going to have parts to play later. And I think most importantly, it set up the last finale episode very well. I think the stage is set for all-out war and bloodshed at this point. I mean, you end it with a warning and off you go. Part of me was like, she should have toasted him, but I think that, obviously if she toasted him, there's no story but that's not a good excuse. I mean, I think the warning thing and the honor, there's still a little honor left and sort of a good way to look at it. But I think this episode did a very good job of setting up the next episode. And I think Damon was left out deliberately because I would assume he is going to be a huge part of this next one. If he's not a huge part of this one, I will be disappointed. I'll say that.
I will be too. Me too.
I'm curious if we're just going to see their side now in next episode instead of just like, how this episode we see the Greens.
Just them laying waste to everything. It sure looked like it. That's what the setup looked like. Go attack. Basically sound like they want to go attack King's Landing. So it's like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
So, but I really have to roll. I stayed like 15 minutes past I should have.
Dude, drive safe. It's raining out there.
Yeah,
dude.
It's raining. It's crap. Roman, I hope you die. We'll see you later, guys.
Oh, come on.
Wow. It's like you guys have been
that's a little too far.
It's like you guys have been married for 20 years.
Not too
Listen
far.
to this. It must
Laris.
be true love. Oh my God.
He called me a foot fetish lover. I hope he gets hit by a train with Laris on the front of it.
All right. All right. Take care.
Roman, I love you, buddy. We'll get our internet fight going some other time. I love you, dude. Thanks, guys, as always, and we'll talk soon.
Hey, Steve.
Take care.
We'll see you later, guys.
Hail the Lord Dragon.
Hail the Lord Dragon. Watch out, Roman. I'm coming for you.
And the last but most certainly not least, our dark friend Hunter Pips. What's your take?
I don't know. I think probably least, but I appreciate it. So on one hand, man, I really felt like I liked this episode. This episode probably had the most attention that I've had for the show for a while. I had to lean forward to get grab the remote and adjust the volume or something right on the episode. And I think I was actually legitimately sitting on the edge of my seat for probably the first 10 or 15 minutes before I realized I have a whole couch here. I can actually, I can do this, right?
It's a weird sensation, isn't it? It's a weird sensation to like something new. Yeah.
So, I still think my reaction to it was that this episode, I liked it more than the last episode. I think I gave last episode an 8 or an 8.5. But as we talked through it, man, the scene with Laris, I hated that scene. I think that it did damage two characters that I thought that I like. I liked both of those characters up to this point. So I'm going to have to say a 7.5 or an 8 in terms of where I'd put it, just because there was a lot of stuff that I really liked, but you don't take two characters and hurt them both like that without good reason. Maybe I'll adjust it up next episode if I see some payoffs. But right now, I think they wanted to set Laris up and they didn't consider how it would make Alicent look, because the malarkey that they were trying to establish there. Even this powerful queen is powerless to this man,
crippled degenerate.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I guess kudos to the House of the Dragon people. Bold strategy, making one of your otherly abled representative characters a degen
evil
like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to play out on Twitter, but good luck with that.
or maybe he's supposed to be a sympathetic villain. I don't know. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because I just was trying to be in the moment. But dude, I hear what you're saying.
Maybe the Twitter people will actually be like, "You guys are all weird for stigmatizing fetishes."
I agree. That was
the
irony.
Oh, the irony. Yeah.
That was totally unnecessary. And yeah, I agree. It did detract from his character. To me, less is more. I'd rather know less about a villain and how he does things than that. Maybe slightly hint at it in whispers and stuff like they do in the book.
Or show him from the back with his arm moving. Don't show him reaching for his junk under his robes. I mean, there could have been another way to make it, just to dial it down from like 7 to like 3, where it's like, is he jerking off right now?
I was okay when she put her feet out and pulled the stockings off. I was like, that's freaking weird, but he's weird. Like, I didn't like it, but like, it was okay. It was not so debasing for her. And then they just went one step. They crossed the line. They went too far with it. And
that's how I feel too about that. I'm sick of these masturbation scenes. I saw it in Dahmer. We saw it before with Aegon when he was a kid. I'm just like, why have this? Like, seriously, doesn't serve any purpose. I don't want to see dudes masturbating.
No, if it's chicks though, I'm all in. That's fine. not dudes.
But honestly, I agree, and that did detract from the character. It makes Laris look like just a simple degenerate, something not to be taken as seriously, because
he was a serious player before.
He's a major player in the entire Dance of the Dragons. So we're gonna be seeing a lot of him. He's not going to just die in the next episode. So I'm just boiling that.
How many seasons? I mean, did this show get a see? Okay, so we're going to get 4 total or 5?
That's what George said. He's like for the amount of story to tell the entire Dance of the Dragons, 4 seasons. So they've only announced season 2, but I'm assuming, because of how successful this season is, how people are, liking this. There's going to be a season 3 and there's going to be a season 4.
There's going to be at least a season 3. I don't think there's going to be a season 3 of the Rings of Mediocrity. But
the thing is, George wanted multiple seasons for Game of Thrones, but Dan and Dave didn't want to do it. They didn't want to commit to. He felt like each book, like books 4 and 5, could have been 5 seasons.
They could have been
all the story
very easily. And that's part of the reason I never watched Game of Thrones. I never watched one episode. I just read the books. I'm like, there's no way you can do these books in even 2 seasons, not and do it right.
No.
But I don't know how it compares. Again, I didn't read the source material for this show. I'm just enjoying it as a fantasy show. So,
Yeah, and I'm the same, and I'm gonna be roughly in the same ballpark as Pips, 8 out of 10, maybe a little higher, 8.5. But that's kind of where I'm at. I thought the tension was great in this episode. I liked how now with the Green Council, it was just that part of the Targaryens, and them setting up for war. They're really setting up for war and for real conflict. And next episode is going to be, if I think what's going to happen in the next episode, we're gonna be crying, because I think some kids might not live after next episode.
Wow, because that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Got the fighting pits. You got the kids coming.
Don't hurt dogs. Don't hurt kids. Those are my places to go. Because if you do that, they'll just find little pieces of you somewhere.
Anybody that watched A Green Nerdporial over there and I talk about Jaws, we covered that, how the shark killed the dog and the kid in the first scene. Or not the first scene, but in an early scene with the shark. And
the little Kittner boy got eaten.
It works. Yeah. If you want to make a villain in a movie, have him kill kids, have him kill the dog.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Halloween did that with the dog too.
That was a really enjoyable show you guys did. And I'm not a nice person. I'm not. I watched that whole show you guys did on Jaws, and it was fantastic. So thank you.
That was a bit of a misadventure for me with my computer cutting off from the internet. So we were on a 12-minute.
Dude,
we were on a 12-minute.
I've been there. I've been there. I've been kicked out of my own show for 20 minutes because I couldn't get back in, and I had other people running
so,
it. And I'm like, whatever.
And so so I'm grateful to Pips for sticking around. I wasn't sure what to do. I had to restart my computer in order to get it to connect again. So Pips, shout out to you for sticking around and hanging with the chat. And of course, who else was? I mean, you were there, Salty.
Salty was there.
Nosferatu was there.
Nosferatu,
Dempsey was there.
We kept it going with jokes while you guys were gone, so you're welcome.
Yeah.
Salty
you guys
was.
Salty was great in the chat too. He kept on pointing out some good stuff. I think a few of the other people who were in there were good. Anybody who hasn't seen it, Nerdporial,
it's a
doing
good
great stuff.
show. It's a good show, you guys. Really, it's a good. Check it out.
So speaking of stuff, let's plug your channels. We'll start with you, Pips.
We got stuff going on, I'm sure. I think I got an episode dropping tonight. We did a bunch of guests. Lady Balefire was one of them this week on the rewatch, so we'll have an episode drop for that. And we're getting close to the end. We're in episode 8, so we'll be coming up with new things to do. And then I think we got a couple live streams and some other stuff we're trying to tentatively plan to do this week. We actually there is a show supporter who reached out to us actually and wants to do a joint live stream. So, cool. We're interested in, having open conversations about stuff. So we got that going. There's things. Check us out. I think most people in the chat are already subbed to us probably.
So Pips, I gotta tell you, I'm going to read a couple more chapters and I'm going to watch the first episode of The Wheel of Time on Prime.
Oh my God.
Don't hurt yourself.
God. Dude, when you're done, reach out to us. We're going to record because it needs you.
I'm going to watch it on my Discord. So yeah, I'm going to watch it on my Discord. I'll invite you guys if you're available to watch it with me.
Please, you will use more expletives than nouns, verbs, or adjectives. I will bet you money.
Can you set it so that we can just watch your reactions? I've already done a rewatch. I can never watch this again.
No. Once was enough, man. No.
Once is enough. Okay.
So,
all right. Well, I'll have to think of something. So
I look forward to talking the book with you. And if you're going to watch the show, I'll always talk the show with you as well, but just
no rewatch.
I'll tell you what, you're going to help me out. You're going to help me out.
It's asking a lot. I get it.
You're going to help me out with some. I'll be there for you. If you want me there in Nerdporial, I'll do it.
Okay.
But just be prepared for me to be very unreasonable. Let's just say that. So.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's fine. And Salty, what about you? You got lots of stuff in the you got a lot of stuff in the works.
Yeah. Well, the Dark Passages series is we're celebrating Halloween horror movies, classic horror movies. This week, I believe we have Purple Valkyrie reading on Wednesday, The Raven. And again, I did a series of custom animation and green screen effects while people read things. On Saturday is the 1913 silent film done by Edison Labs that I restored to the best ability that I could. It's the very first on-screen depiction of Frankenstein, and it was done by Edison Labs in 1913, cleaned up the print, tried to get the white balance the right way, and put in some great music. And then, of course, Halloween, we have a very large project, which there are a lot of YouTubers involved in this, and I'm doing my best to keep it quiet. But I am so excited about this, and I am so incredibly proud of the quality of work that is going into what we're going to be dropping on Halloween night. This is something I've wanted to do for 30 years, and it's a passion project. I think everyone is going to like this quite a bit. It's a very good thing, and it actually was live on the air back in 1939, and that's all I'm going to say. So thanks for having me in tonight, dude. This is a great show. Great to work with you guys. So take care.
Thank you, Salty. Me, well, got stuff going on myself tomorrow. Tomorrow, Monday, I'm going to be doing another serial horror chat. And we're going to be talking about the anime film from 1997, Perfect Blue by Satoshi Kon. If you want to see a weird, messed up, what is reality, what is fantasy border, definitely check out the stream. I already made the thumbnail. I made the opening. It's going to be it's a brutal opening because it's one of the most violent things in anime I've ever seen, and I've seen Akira.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, I saw it, Kira.
It is brutal. That Perfect Blue is brutal, and it pays off really well. It's really well done movie. And rest in peace, Satoshi Kon, who made it. He ended up he's no longer with us. He ended up getting pancreatic cancer about 12 years ago. So he was responsible for Paprika, which is what Christopher Nolan copied and made.
Paprika's insane. It's insane, dude.
Yeah, and then Christopher Nolan made freaking Inception, kind of based on that. Yeah. So like people steal like a lot of anime ideas like came first before a lot of before it became big with Nolan and all those other directors and everything. So, but Tokyo Godfathers, great movie, and Millennium Actress, another great one, and then of course the anime series that he did was Paranoia Agent, which is another similar psychological thriller. So that's going to be tomorrow. Then Thursday, I'm going to be doing a stream with Fanzine, and we're going to be talking about 1981 classic, The Howling, Joe Dante.
Oh, great movie.
So since Joe Dante directed it, you better expect to see Dick Miller in that movie. You better expect to see Dick Miller in the movie, So
that was a good movie.
And then on Friday, can I announce this, Salty? Can I announce what we're doing on Friday?
I don't remember what we're doing on. Yes, go ahead. Sorry. Yes, please.
So on Friday, me, Salty, and Snowdub are going to be talking about the John Carpenter classic, which is widely considered to be his best movie and maybe the best horror movie of all time. Not in my opinion, but it's up there. The Thing, 1982. So we're going to be talking that movie on Friday.
A lot of people have covered it on YouTube, and that's great. I mean, it's great to hear everybody else's opinions. You're going to hear it from myself, Snowdub. Snowdub's a super fan. And Snowdub was talking about The Thing when we were at the Dallas Fan Expo, and I actually bought a couple of McCready's that are behind me there. But I love that movie. I've probably watched it twice this month, and every single time, it scares the living shit out of me. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. So, thanks for having me on. Yeah,
no problem. And of course, I saw Halloween Ends on Friday or on Thursday. Actually, that movie sucked. Don't see Halloween Ends. And I love the 2018 movie, and I actually liked Halloween Kills. But this movie, if you go to a Halloween movie to watch Michael Myers kill people, The Shape, you're not going to get that. You're gonna get some weird little boy named Corey Cunningham doing all Michael's stuff. Yeah, guy's name is Corey Cunningham. I don't know if they named him after Sean S. Cunningham of Friday 13th just to be assholes, but
sure.
But it's a guy looks into Michael Myers' eyes, and now all of a sudden he's The Shape, but he's not The Shape because he's just a dork. He's the dork that was bullied. They took ideas from it because Michael Myers in 4 years just hung out in the sewer. Lingered in the sewer in Haddonfield for 4 years, and so in order to get stronger, he has to kill. It's so stupid. I hated that. They had no idea what they were doing.
Every single person I've talked to who's seen that Halloween movie is like, it sucks. Purple Valkyrie's like, this totally sucks. That's all she said, and it's like it must really suck.
So I'm going to be discussing that movie with Runner Blaze on his channel on Tuesday. So cool. He just messaged me saying, you want to talk about it? I'm like, yes, I want to talk about that. I know Pips doesn't give a shit. He only cares about awesome thrillers. He doesn't care about, slashers and all that stuff. So.
Honestly, I've checked out some of your stuff and some of the movies that you guys are talking about. You got me intrigued. I have a friend who's really, really big into horror movies. And I might have to watch The Thing with him. Maybe might have to watch
The Thing.
Movies.
Is good. The Thing is good.
You did drop by when me and Dempsey were watching Halloween on I think was it last week? Yeah, last week.
Your conversations have piqued my interest. So I've never been super impressed with the genre, but I'm willing to admit maybe I've just seen mostly bad movies, right?
Yes,
it's true.
But there's good ones. There's really good ones. The Thing is one of them. The Exorcist is one. The original Halloween is one. Jaws is probably. We mentioned you. Before you even got in. We mentioned you. I mentioned you talking how Jaws was stuck in the public consciousness. So and it influenced Halloween and a whole lot of other shitty movies. So
would you say The Shining is horror or suspense or thriller or something like that?
It's
It's a horror
it's
movie.
it's a combination. It's a
Okay.
combination.
I think it's a
It's-
horror movie.
That's also a great movie that I've liked. So maybe I'm not as against the genre as I think that I am. Maybe I've just been somewhere on the doll someone hurt me.
Yeah.
But I always look at the thing as it's science fiction, and the horror is incidental. That's the way I look at the thing. And
That's
I
true.
saw it when it came out, like I was 12. Should I have been at that movie? No, but I saw it, and it was a science fiction movie, and then it was just creepy AF stuff with great practical effects. So
All right,
Yeah.
but that's I totally agree on that. It is more science fiction. So, but without further ado, this is where we're going to have to end the stream because everybody's got to go. So, everybody, take care. Stay nerdporial. May the wings of nerdporials carry you to the next thing. Salty and Pips, or Salty, do your thing, and then Pips, do your thing. Your final saying.
I really like this show. Thanks for having me on. Bye.
All right, Pips,
I think I'm supposed to say walk in the light.
walk in the light. There you go.
Oh, that works too.
Okay, but everybody, take care and have a good night.
Bye, everybody.